Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Co-Chancellor, young Bar Bahagya, Tansiri, Tajuddin, Ramdi. Board of Governors, Board of Trustees, distinguished guests, parents, and the graduating class of 1996. Today we've all gathered here at LUMS to share with the graduating class a milestone in their lives. I congratulate them on successfully completing the challenging MBA program. Their joy and pride in this achievement is shared by their families and all of us at LUMS, particularly the faculty who have steered them through their exhilarating 2-year program. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now completed 10 years since we opened our doors to the first MBA class in September 1986. And what an eventful and fulfilling period it has been. Since the opening, we have now nearly 500 graduates in the marketplace. Over 3,000 executives have attended our executive development programs. And as the Dean just informed you, our full-time student enrollment has reached 450. By the year 2000, inshallah, we expect to reach over 800 students. But numbers per se is not the real issue. More gratifying is the fact that as a result of our past efforts, LUMS is indeed a place where study blossoms and minds move, where the search to know and learn constitutes the highest value. It is becoming a varied and diverse institution, known for the quality of its faculty and the quality of its students. The climate of learning, the opportunity for growth, and freedom to challenge assumptions, both old and new, enable us to expand mental horizons and intellectual capacity. At the rather tender age of 10 years, we're still a very young university. We do not apologize for our youth. On the contrary, we feel it gives us the vitality, flexibility, and eagerness to continuously improve our programs and seek new avenues for growth. So much for the past. Now, how do we see the future for LUMS? What promises and challenges does the 21st century hold for us? Early this year, the management committee and the faculty decided to prepare a strategic plan for the next 10 years for LUMS, and also decided to seek advice from outside of Pakistan. The faculty and staff, with its traditional zeal, started working on preparation of an initial working document. As part of the development process of the plan, we have today 2 eminent scholars from Harvard. Professor Lou Wells from Harvard Business School, who has been with us since the inception of LUMS, and Dr. Henry Rosofsky, who has been the Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Sciences at Harvard for 15 years. Both are here to help the faculty, the management committee, think through the strategic plan. In the short run, over the next 3 to 5 years, we're looking to expand our executive program and the undergraduate, and also thinking of introducing more programs at the master's level. Our MBA program will not be expanded in numbers, but increased in course diversification and be strengthened. Our executive development program has so far been very successful, and so successful that we are currently in the process of adding 2 more auditoriums. With this expansion, we aim to cater to the greater needs of the business community, which has to be one of the key engines of growth for the nation. In the longer term, we're thinking about various options. The key factor driving our choice of programs is to add more value to our society. within one's limited resources. Selecting the course of action is the task before the management committee, the faculty, and our visiting scholars. Ladies and gentlemen, today many questions are being raised about our society and its governance, and there is a strong desire for change and for social and economic change. Our country can progress much faster and much further if we have a better educated and growing middle class. LUMS must play its part in helping to create that educated and productive middle class. Other nations have been through this phase. In the United States, American universities used affirmative action policies to rectify these imbalances in society by helping their underprivileged minorities. However, in our case, the task is more difficult, as the problem is in the mainstream of our population. For more adaptable solutions for our country, we will also look at how other fast-developing Asian countries, such as Malaysia, have solved this problem. For economic advancement, we need social advancement, and without social development, economic development cannot take roots. Without broader social underpinning, it is difficult for economic development to succeed and impossible for it to be sustained. I see this as the critical challenge. In fact, the critical challenge before us. If we can succeed in getting people from a broader social base to develop themselves so that they can enter LUMS on merit, a principle which we have not and will not compromise, then we will have played our part in helping our nation to achieve truly sustainable development. We know to do this, we'll have to raise our scholarship funds and look for support from our friends and associates. Our focus on further expansion of the Small and Medium Enterprises Program is part of this desire to add value to the small businessman and help in creating a larger and more productive middle class. Next year, this center plans to expand its existing program portfolio and also broaden its outreach by training programs and workshops to different cities in Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll be happy to know that each year LUMS is becoming more and more a national university. Today we have 450 students, out of which 40% are from outside of Lahore. Currently, they're residing in rented premises in the vicinity of the campus. We realize that these rental facilities do not match the facilities on campus. By having our own hostels, we will further our goals of being a national university. We have commenced building hostels on campus for both girls and boys, and are seeking sponsors to augment the generous donation of 2 crores announced last year by our Pro-Chancellor, Syed Babar Ali. Ladies and gentlemen, I find it difficult to describe the sense of satisfaction we all get by our involvement in LUMS. For me personally, to work closely with our faculty, staff and students is indeed gratifying. What a capable faculty we have, and one knows how much time and effort they have given to making LUMS the great seat of learning. On many occasions, they have gone the extra distance for the students and the institution. We are extremely grateful to the Dean and his team for their contribution and commitment. An example of such a commitment came this summer when we had planned to admit 80 students into our undergraduate program. Soon we realized that the number of qualified students far exceeded our target. It was the faculty themselves who came forward and said, no, let us increase the seats and have another section. We will go that extra distance to add on to our program. This is the spirit which we, the Dean and your team, were grateful for. Likewise, what a talented student body we have. They have shown that given the opportunity and the environment, they will search for knowledge and add value to themselves. Finally, to the graduating class, I wish to share that with the skills you have learnt at LUMS, you have the opportunity to explore, to question, to select, and to create a place for yourself in the business world which is of tangible value. Value to society and value to your country. And while you're away, keep a special place in your heart for your alma mater. It has given you a lot, and you owe a great deal to it. We look forward to your lasting association with LUMS. We all wish you well, and may your promises and dreams come true. On behalf of the governors, trustees, and faculty, I would like to avail this opportunity to express my gratitude to Mr. Tan Sri Tajuddin Zamli for taking time out of his busy schedule to grace this occasion. In conclusion, I wish to thank you all for being here and sharing this happy occasion with us. And to all our friends and associates of LUMS, I would like to thank you for your continuous support. I would now request Professor Lou Wells, who's been with us from the start, and I trust enjoys his association with us as much as we've enjoyed it with him, to come and address the gathering.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is for me a pleasure to be here and to see the progress of LUMS since my last visit, which was about 3 years ago. The institution has progressed so rapidly that is in some ways unrecognizable from visit to visit over the past 10 years. On the other hand, certain important elements remain constant, as they should, and as I hope they will in the future. Most important among the constants has been LUMS' dedication to excellence. Excellence has not been an idle slogan at LUMS, nor has attaining it, or more important, retaining it, been something that could be taken for granted in an environment where many institutions have deteriorated. Excellence for a university is usually measured in terms of its faculty, its students, and its curriculum. LUMS has succeeded on all these usual measures. In fact, even though it's much younger than other management schools in the developing world, in my view, LUMS ranks at least equal to the very best elsewhere. In America and Europe, the excellence of physical facilities, internal administration, libraries, recruitment and placement, and similar activities is often taken for granted. Yet in a developing country, these cannot be assumed. LUMS has paid equal attention to them. It did not, for example, build simply functional buildings. Rather, it went for excellence in terms of architecture as well. And the efficiency with which all these facilities and activities are run sets a very important example for management students and for other institutions in the country. However, vigilance and constant change are required if an institution is to remain committed to its values. Since I've worked with, or at least visited, a large number of management schools in other developing countries, I'd like to make a few observations about dangers that LUMS will face as it grows. First, every excellent teaching or research institution in a developing country faces an almost overwhelming threat in the form of an unending series of requests that it do this and do that. The requests come from the government, they come from international institutions, in the case of management schools, also from businesses. A large number of the requests are for tasks that are of urgent national importance. The requests come with pleas that no one else can do the job. The requests sometimes offer money, international travel, and always prestige. The problem in all developing countries is that the number of genuinely attractive requests simply overwhelms the capacity of that excellent institution. As difficult as it is to say no to important requests, the institution must have the courage to do so, and courage it takes. Otherwise, the result is a quick deterioration of quality as researchers and teachers take on more than they should, and the core work of the institution is increasingly ignored as professionals are drawn off into other activities. This happens over and over in quality institutions in developing countries. Second, excellent institutions should and do grow, but growth itself poses a risk. Management structures and processes must change constantly as the size of an institution changes. The fact is, professional institutions are peculiar and fragile institutions. Their assets are individualistic, sometimes hard to get along with, professionals who are mobile and whose attitudes and performance determine the success of the institutions. Those professionals must share a culture and vision and participate in directing the institution if they are to remain loyal. A new small school can involve its faculty in all important decisions and build a culture by having them sit around a single lunch table. That was the LUMS of 8 or 10 years ago. The effectiveness of what I'm calling lunch table management disappears with growth. The risk, as evidenced by institutions elsewhere, including in the industrialized countries, is that enthusiasm, loyalty, and shared values among professionals declines as the professional staff becomes too large for the lunch table, unless new management methods are found. LUMS is now at an awkward size, too large for a lunch table, and too small for very formal processes. It must find new ways to assure that the faculty feels that it owns the institution and is involved deeply in the important decisions. This means the need for transparency, for open and sometimes very tedious and seemingly inefficient meetings, and for rethinking the relationship among the various levels of management of the institution. Lessons from managing manufacturing firms have little applicability in managing growth in a professional organization, whether that professional organization be a law firm, a consulting firm, a medical institution, or a university. Different styles, structures, and procedures are called for. The third threat that I want to mention is that which faces many institutions that grew up in an insulated world. Most developing countries are now lowering their trade barriers, eliminating their foreign exchange controls, and otherwise deregulating their economies to become part of a global economy. We all know that structural adjustment, as this is sometimes called, has a major impact on manufacturing firms. We rarely think through the impact on professional organizations such as schools of management. Globalization increases the mobility of professionals. LUMS was and still is far ahead of any similar institution in Pakistan. Its monopoly position meant that it could choose among Pakistani faculty candidates and prospective students, for that matter, who wanted to live in a certain kind of environment and study problems that were relevant to business management problems in Pakistan. Foreign exchange controls, work permits, and so on limited the movements of students and faculty. Increasingly, LUMS competition is no longer solely in Pakistan, but its students and its faculty can move to institutions in other developing countries and study very similar problems. A Philippine business school can and has recruited faculty from an Indian business school. An Indonesian business school provides an alternative for faculty in Malaysia, and so on. In this case, the implication for LUMS is similar to the implication of deregulation and globalization for manufacturing firms. Both must pay attention to their competitiveness, no longer on a national basis, but on an international basis. LUMS must build an environment that attracts and holds on to faculty that could go elsewhere. And it must be so attractive to excellent students that they choose LUMS over alternatives. I'm optimistic about the future of LUMS, but I did want to share with you some of the important risks that I see for the institution. LUMS will maintain its commitment to excellence if it maintains a shared sense of where it is going. I hope that Dean Rosofsky and I can contribute to building the kinds of ongoing and open discussions that must take place if the faculty is to retain its commitment to the institution. And if the faculty, students, staff, administration, management committee, trustees, and board of governors, and alumni, the old ones and the new ones that we're creating today, share a common vision of the future of LUMS. I want to congratulate the new soon-to-be alumni for succeeding in such a wonderful institution. But I want to remind you that you've taken on a lifetime commitment to the future of LUMS.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Chancellor Ramli, distinguished guests, parents, students, members of the faculty, trustees, members of the Board of Governors, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the trustees of the Lahore University of Management Sciences, it is my privilege to welcome you at the convocation for the graduating class of 1996. It gives me great pleasure to thank Tansri Tajuddin Ramli, Chairman of Malaysia Airlines, for his illuminating keynote speech. Sir, your presence here today is much appreciated, especially as you have taken the trouble to travel from Malaysia for this occasion. Those of you who have traveled on Malaysia Airlines will agree with me in commending the high quality of service it provides. As fellow Muslims and Asians, we should salute Tansri Ramli's leadership qualities in improving the standards of management of Malaysia's national airline in an industry which is one of the most globally competitive. At our convocation today, we have students and faculty from abroad. I am particularly pleased to have two faculty members from Harvard in our midst. Professor Lou Wells of the Harvard Business School has been associated with LUMS since its inception 10 years ago. He guided us in developing the initial concept and has taken an active interest in the growth of this institution. In fact, his mission at the moment is to work alongside the faculty and management committee to develop a vision for LUMS for the next 10 years. I'd also like to acknowledge the presence of another eminent scholar, Dr. Henry Rosofsky, who is also helping us in this formidable task. Dr. Rosofsky was the Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Sciences at Harvard for 15 years and is now Professor Emeritus at Harvard. Mr. Javed Hamid, the first director of LUMS, unfortunately he is not here at this function, but he is in Lahore today, is also, should have been here on this annual convocation, is in Lahore on his annual vacation from International Finance Corporation in Washington, D.C. He played a crucial role in converting the dream of LUMS into a concrete reality. You have already heard from previous speakers on what LUMS has done, what it stands for, and what our aspirations are. I'd like to focus on the importance of improving our general environment and more specifically on improving the educational system in Pakistan. Despite above average economic growth rates, Pakistan's indicators relating to education have remained disappointing. I speak of a society where over the past 50 years we have not managed to translate high government expenditure into substantial investment in education for our people. Statistics reveal that we are spending 2% of our GDP on education. The literacy rate stands at 28% and is even lower for women. This is one of the lowest figures in the region. Compare our spending to the so-called Asian tigers and we shame ourselves unless we make a quantum jump in our expenditure on education. We shall never be able to pursue a balanced and sustainable development. Gone are the days when cheap labor could provide a competitive advantage. With the advent of new technologies and an increasingly global and cutthroat international marketplace, we have entered the information age even if we are not ready for it. In such an age, advantage and competitiveness will go to those with information. Higher education and skill enhancement are therefore necessary prerequisites for competitive advantage. Competitiveness and productivity are of course tied to using all potential available to us. Countries that wish to thrive in the 21st century cannot do so unless they fully realize that the most important resource of any nation must be the talents, skills, creativity, and will of all of their people. Pakistan's largest natural resource is its 130 million strong population, and we have to invest in the fullest development of this key resource. I believe that we have to ensure that all our citizens are given the right to education at all levels, primary, secondary, and higher education, be it vocational or technical, at good quality and worth. I am proud to say that the faculty and staff at LUMS, through their selfless hard work, have been instrumental in doing just that. They have provided quality education to students who are admitted on merit and assessed on merit, with financial aid given to those who do not have the funds to avail the opportunity. The challenges of providing such quality education are enormous, and without their efforts, LUMS would not be where it is today. Such access to merit-based education should not only be confined to institutions like LUMS, but should be the right of every Pakistani citizen, regardless of gender or creed. Productive work opportunities must be opened up to our labor force, and its productivity must be increased progressively, mainly through investments in research, appropriate adoption of new technologies, and adequate investment in capital. The East Asian experience shows us the critical role of human resource development through constant training and retraining of the workforce. These issues are of pertinence to the members of the graduating class of 1996. I'd like to offer my heartiest congratulations to all of you. You have survived a vigorous and competitive MBA program which should equip you well for the future. It is a qualification which shall provide you with a sound qualification for the rest of your professional lives. I hope that LUMS has instilled you with sound values, a commitment to integrity, a capacity for hard work, and a determination to excel in whatever field you choose to enter. These values should remain with you for the rest of your lives. You have a great challenge before you as you enter your professional lives. You should be prepared to make a change in the environment in which we live. The fundamental changes that Pakistan needs will take time. It is only through your determination and responsible and loyal citizens that you can bring about such a change. Your relationship with LUMS does not end today. Your responsibility to make a change should begin with your contribution to a scholarship fund which can help your successors at LUMS to complete their education. I'd urge you all to contribute generously, for in doing so, you shall advance the cause of education in this country. It is a small investment on your part, but a significant symbol of what you are striving for. I thank you all. Thank you very much.